Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 149 of Parenting in Real Life. Today, we are going to talk about how to unwind as a family. I think this is a high-level topic because we've talked about some of these things specifically, but this is going to be lots of different ways for you and your family to chill out because sometimes, most of the time, having a family is stressful.
To start off our podcast today, we are going to share a parenting in real life moment, and this is a good one. So sometimes things will overlap when you're scheduling things. For example, I had scheduled a wellness appointment for 4 of our 5 children because their birthdays are so close together, and I just said, let's take them all. And so it also happened to be the same day as Nathan's field trip, which I didn't know until like a week before. So I just thought, our appointments were before school, and I was like, it's fine, we'll just take him and he can leave early. So we took them all, and of course they took a little bit longer than I thought they were going to. And we are rushing to get Nathan, and they're like, oh, he just needs to do a quick test real fast. We're like, okay. So he's like doing his test, and then Alan takes him to school. Luckily, he did make the field trip on time, and I stayed there with the other kids while I could meet with the doctor and talk to him about all the kids, blah, blah, blah. But he walks in, and he's like, weren't there 4 kids? I was like, oh yeah, Nate had a field trip, and so Alan took him to school. He's like, of all the time I've been a pediatrician, I don't think this has ever happened to me. He's like, I don't even know what to do to tell insurance. Like, was he here? Was he not here? I'm not sure what to do. I was like, he was here. We did the test. It's fine. Count it.
The nurse pricked his finger.
Yeah, and he did all the measurements and whatever. Like, we're good. So anyway, it was pretty funny and ended up being... If he would have stayed, he definitely would have missed his field trip. So it was good that he left. I probably should have rescheduled, but it was just a wellness. He didn't need anything special, so it's fine.
It's so funny. Alexis is a late person. And so I'm not surprised that she's like, oh, it'll be fine. They'll totally get, like, the appointment was at 8:30. He needed to be at school at 9.
The doctor's is like 5 minutes from the school, so it's really close.
It's more like 7.
Okay, 7 minutes.
This is the late people mentality. It's like they just round everything down. It's 9 minutes. I'm going to round down to 5. No. And who's ever gotten into the doctor at the time that their thing started?
Well, I figured we were probably like first, right? 8:30. That's pretty early. So
which means just getting started. They've got to figure out all their stuff.
Yeah, so I'm like, we should be able to get in there fast. And I was annoyed that I had to fill out forms. So we've been going to this doctor for years, and we have to fill
endless
out
optimism.
forms.
Anyway, I saw a funny comedian. I don't know if you've seen this. I should have saved it and shared it with the whole world. He was like, who here is like a late person? They're just always late. There's 2 types of people. There's early people and there's late people. And like all these people are like, yeah, us. And he's like, there's something you should know about how early people feel about late people. We hate you. I was like, well, that feels right. It's just like, oh my gosh, just be on time. Just be on time.
Well, I think for me, I try to be on time. I just hate the thought of being early, and so I'm usually late then. Not on purpose, I just don't want to be early.
I love to be early.
I don't intentionally be late.
Oh, getting to a place 5 minutes early is like a dream.
No, that is like my worst nightmare. Being early to something is worse than being late.
I don't want to be 15 minutes early, especially with kids, but like love getting there early. You can kind of take your time. You get the best seats. It's just...
Sounds like this is a debate that we need to put on social media. Are you an early or a late person?
Yeah, we're not going to change each other. So, today we're talking about ways to unwind as a family. And we've got a big long list, but we thought we'd give some really specific examples because that's what we need as parents, right? We just need some good examples of things we can do. And unwind, what do we mean by unwind?
I think these are ways to kind of de-stress as a family, right? And one of these we'll get to, I feel like, could actually cause more stress, but these are things that your family can do together as you're getting ready for the evening, or if you've had a chaotic day, or you need some family time where you can connect for a few minutes. Like, I think that's kind of what we're talking about here.
Yes. I would argue that all of these could cause more stress because with enough imagination and children, you can make Christmas morning stressful.
And that has happened in our family, so very true.
It's a great example because it should be. Anyway, here we go.
I think that being said, like, find what works best for your family, right? Because some of these things are going to be like, my family won't do that, or they don't like that, or whatever. So,
and sometimes you got to pick, like, do I want the kids to be unstressed or me? Right? That's Disneyland. Do I want to be happy or do I want my kids to be happy? Disneyland.
Disneyland's what? You?
Not you.
I actually saw a meme the other day that was like, a vacation is just babysitting your kids in a new location. I was like, oh, that feels right.
Yeah.
He's at Disneyland.
Yep. So the first one is take a walk.
Well, the movement can be indoors or outdoors. So you can take a walk or just move in some way. So that could be,
Get moving.
you know, some people love family dance parties. I personally don't like those, but a lot of people really do. So that could be a dance party or go out on a walk outside.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
We used to play Just Dance, that like dancing game, like things like that.
That's true.
We're down with that.
Yeah.
And we've done real dances once. Didn't go great.
A real, yeah. During COVID, we did a lot of outdoor walks because that's pretty much all we could do. And so we did a lot of walking in the springtime, and it was nice.
And if you can, we've mentioned this before, but game changer for us, we would walk together and leave the kids home. So we'd like get up early and leave, and the kids are pretty good. Our kids are of the age that leaving them for half an hour in the morning when people are still groggy and just want to watch TV, totally safe and okay. And we did that, and it was awesome. Mm-hmm. It saved our sanity during COVID.
Yeah. You can also do family bike rides, and if you have young kids that can't ride their bikes yet, you can always get those little like attachments that you put on the back of the bikes. We had those for a little bit there.
And if they're in that in-between stage where they think they can ride their bike, you can carry their bike half the way home.
We've done. Usually Alan has done it. I have to go drive and pick them up.
We should have said this list is the things that Alexa said are de-stressing, and I will tell you how they're stressful. New name to this list.
If you have a local rec center, you can also do that. We've gone swimming quite a few times at our rec center. That one's pretty fun.
Yeah. See if your kids can drown in a public place.
Now, put on the floaties if they don't know how to swim. Okay, our next one is the one that I feel like is the most stressful on the list. It could go bad, and this is play a game. Mm-hmm. We like family games, but feelings can quickly get hurt, or people are mad that they didn't win. Poor sportsmanship. So if your family doesn't do great with games, maybe skip this one. But
I don't think skip it. Teach your kids to toughen up. It is like there's always tears when we play games, and I still play games because I feel like, you know what? You're going to lose 90% of the games you play because only one person wins. And so let's just figure this out.
And oftentimes we'll have to keep playing until everybody wins. So sometimes that happens too because everyone wants a chance to win.
Everyone needs a trophy? I don't do that.
Well, not all the same, but everyone wants a chance to at least win once. So if you have time, you may have to play multiple times.
If you're looking for good games, we do love Grandpa Beck games. They have games for all ages, but not all of their games are for all ages. So watch yourself. And Cover Your Assets is a terrible game and nobody should ever play it.
I hate that game. People love that game and I hate it. But they did come out with a new one, like Throne of Dragons or something like that we tried.
Reign of the Dragoness.
Reign of the Dragoness. That one's really fun. So we have a link in our show notes to Grandpa Beck games because we have most of their games except Cover Your Assets.
Great Del Moody is a Lorky family classic. Grew up playing that. It's like Scum.
Yeah, if you've
but
never
it's
played
like
Scum,
it's a deck dedicated to it. So you have more of the high numbers and less of the low numbers.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to buy this game because it's so fun, and it is really challenging to find it. And so I finally found it on Amazon, and I purchased it, and it got here, and it was in German. And
Sprechen the Deutsch?
See it. I'm like, got this package. It says from Germany. I'm like, what came from Germany? And it was Great Dalmuti in German. So,
which may have been a German game first. Is that Great Dalmuti?
I think the game, it said whoever makes it says it's in Germany. So we got it straight from the makers.
Check that out. All of the little characters in it are in German, so nobody knows who they are, but it's still good.
It's fine.
A stressful time for us is on car drives. And when we were driving, we were just on vacation last week, and we asked people what their favorite car games were, and we got a lot of interesting responses.
Yeah, some of those were like the ABC game, license plates games, counting cows, I Spy.
Alexis taught me some good games. Didn't you teach me all those? Like there's a game where you say, I'm thinking of a word that rhymes with cat. And they can't just say words that rhyme with cat. They have to give a clue that makes you guess the word. So if you were like, is it another word for obese? Then you would say, no, it's not fat. And then they would say,
Is it a rodent that lives in sewers?
no, it's not a rat, until they get the right one. And then they get it, and then they win, and I love that game. I think that's fun.
So it has to be a one-syllable word. It's a game that we learned in college. One of my roommates taught that to us. So when we do little road trips together, we played that game. Super fun. Kids do need to be a little bit older for that one.
But not a ton.
Not a ton.
Rhyming's pretty easy. The hard part for kids is to think of a clue. Mm-hmm. So if the clue part is the problem, you could just have them say the word. But once you can handle it, that added layer is fun.
Yeah.
We also love Nintendo in our family. We love Nintendo because we feel like the games are more likely to be like everybody games and age-appropriate games. So we play some Nintendo together. Again, tears.
Usually it's Mario Kart because that's like the only Nintendo game that I like too. So when the whole family wants to play together, we play Mario Kart.
Yeah, your teeth look great.
Oh, thank you.
Your teeth.
If you're on the video, which if you didn't know, you can watch our podcast on YouTube. But my braces are off and my teeth are straight.
Your smile looks so good. They were already straight, but braces are braces. So good to see Alexis's teeth again. Our third tip is yoga, meditation, mindfulness, or box breathing. So all just things like going right at it. One way to calm down is to calm down.
And this might be hard to do like as a whole family at once, but maybe if one of your kids needs that or like to help them get ready for bed, you can go in your room, you can do some breathing techniques or headspace. Lucy the other day found Cosmo Kids, which is where they tell stories and have them do yoga as they tell stories. And she did it
It's
for
like a bedtime prep thing, right?
You can, or it's just they do fun activities too. And she did it in the middle of the day, and it was.
Did she actually do the yoga?
She
or
did.
Did she bow on the go it and just sit there and watch this show about moving?
If you ever watch Bo on the Go, that's
Don't.
one of our least favorite shows ever. But our kids, that's supposed to be interactive and get the kids moving. Our kids would not. They would just stare at her.
So watch this painfully bad show, and she's like, "All right, everybody, get up and move." And our kids would just watch it. She'd say this with me," and they just watch it. I'm like, "What are we doing?"
That was a bad one. But the Cosmo Kids yoga, she was actually doing it. She was doing all the yoga moves. She's having so much fun. I took a video of it, so I'll have to share that on Instagram. But that was a good one.
I've tried a few different yogas. There's lots of people that have free yoga on YouTube and stuff. I'm sure there's good ones, but the only one that I really like is the one on Apple Fitness. So you can get a subscription to Apple Fitness. It does cost money, but I love yoga, but only when I do it with them. And theirs is more like athletic and not as like granola. It's very great.
Mm-hmm. So number 4 is be creative. And of course, under creativity, we've got to throw out do Cricut crafts because Cricut is the best.
Yeah, it is. You should get a Cricut.
We actually have gotten 2 of our girls Cricut Joys, which are the smallest machines, and they can make cards and like
Stickers.
vinyls, stickers, little things. They've decorated their lockers with their stuff. You can do t-shirts, all that fun stuff.
It's very awesome.
So start your kids with a Cricut Joy. It's great.
Reach out. I can tell you all about them. And I would love to. There's also Art for Kids Hub. That is probably our favorite art YouTube channel where this guy just shows you how to do really fun and really easy art projects. That is great. There's also some cool people on Instagram showing how to do cool art things for kids. The one I keep seeing is Andrea Nelson Art. Her stuff is so cool. Like, it looks fantastic, and it all is really, really, really easy. And it's kind of mistake-proof. It's meant to be full of mistakes and still look amazing. So, good one.
One that I really like is called Let's Make Art. And they also now have a Let's Make Art for Kids, and it's watercolors. And so she teaches you on YouTube, like in an 1.5-hour video, how to do this beautiful watercolor painting. Or they have more simple ones for kids, which has been really fun.
You can also read a book or tell a story. I have not always loved reading my kids' books.
I love reading our kids' books.
Alexis does. I've grown to love it. I like it more when it's chapter books. Picture books for me, the kids are too squirrely, and you have to get a really good picture book, and there's so many bad picture books. Even though we try and be really good, I still feel like most of them, I'm like, oh my gosh. Usborne is my least favorite thing. Just going to say it.
There's definitely better children's books than others. Alan also tells the kids stories because sometimes that's more fun. That's something that his dad did, and now he's kind of made up his own thing, and the boys love it, and Lucy will run into.
Yep. So my dad used to tell Billy Whiskers stories, and it's this secret agent goat. So those were really fun growing up. Mine is more on the nose. I have Super Nate and Jackie Boy stories, so they're both superheroes, but they love that it's about them. I have kind of like a little template in my head of like, it always starts like this, and then this happens, kind of like a kid's show, right? Like they're kind of repetitive. I think they like it, and it makes it easier for me to come up with it on the fly. And Stinky Pants is always the villain, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And I'm not like creative or smart like that. You can do it.
You can. I actually struggle with telling stories. I'd rather just read them. But with the older kids, because sometimes I feel like our oldest two are out of picture books, right? They don't want to do that anymore. And so I've been reading aloud to them chapter books. And right now we're reading The Paper Dolls of Chinatown, and it's adapted for young readers. And so I'm just reading them a chapter as they're getting ready for bed.
I don't know if I can recommend it yet. I feel nervous about it.
Oh, yeah, we'll see.
It's based on real events, and it's like, I feel like these are going to be rough events, but maybe not. So we'll come back and let you know.
We'll let you know.
But we did read The Rent Collector for kids. Yeah. That was fantastic.
That was good. It was a little slow and at parts where I think the kids got a little bit bored, but it's a really good story.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So that I like that too. I love the ones that are based on true stories. So I love historical fiction, but that's what I do. Like while they're brushing their teeth and getting their PJs on, I'll just read them a chapter or two and then they go to bed. But it's just a nice way to end the day and also learn and read.
Ba-da-ba. Who knows what that sound is? Do you know?
We've done that so many times on this podcast. So
that it's from our podcast now? Do we own
no,
it?
man, if you don't know that, then you're probably a new listener. Cause
do we always say what it is?
I don't think we do, but we have just done that quite a few times.
It's Reading Rainbow.
But it is Reading Rainbow.
It's that weird sound they did in between each kid telling about a book.
Classic. Reading Rainbow.
So good. It almost came back. Remember that?
Yeah. I'm sad it didn't, honestly.
Laugh together or tell jokes. We like to joke with each other, and it's not always well received, but we keep doing it.
Also, laughing is clinically proven to be a stress reliever. So
does it have to be real laugh?
I don't think so. I think actually even fake laughing or just like when they said like smiling, even if you aren't feeling happy, just smiling will make you feel happy. So
I feel happy now.
If you need to fake it till you make it, go for it. But find ways to laugh together. Some things that we like to do are tell jokes, and we'll ask Google to tell us jokes.
Yep. Your smart devices can tell jokes. Sometimes funny ones.
Yes, surprisingly funny, and our kids have gotten a crack up out of some of those.
Do I already tell that story?
We have. We could tell it again.
It's so funny. We asked Google for a knock-knock joke, and it did the knock-knock, who's there, Europe, and then the Google says it, which is part of why it was so funny, because it's this little Google voice, but it's like, you say, you're a poo, and it said, I'm not a poo, you are, or whatever it says.
It's like, oh, I'm not a poo.
And Nathan didn't get it for a second, and then it like slowly clicked.
Oh, man.
And then he died.
He rolled on the floor laughing for that one. So you can ask Google for some jokes, and there's some funny ones in there.
Yep. If you have young boys, just poo and fart jokes.
That's all they want.
That will keep them entertained for hours.
We also do sweet and sours, which is not always funny, but sometimes can be funny. When we, at the dinner table, we'll ask the kids, we don't do this every night, but sometimes when we remember, we'll ask them what a sweet and sour was for that day. And it was hilarious the other night because Jack was telling about something that had happened the day before. And Nathan, he said, he's like, wait, I have another sour. My sour is that 3 years ago, I got stitches.
It wasn't that funny, but Alexis thought it was funny, and so she started cracking up. Of course, Jack was crying because he thought everyone was laughing at him.
That's another one where it's like, oh, that could be a problem.
But I don't
know why. I just thought it was so funny. And then all the other kids started laughing, so most of us started laughing, and then Jack cried. But
if you're a teenage boy with dumb teenage boy humor, come to Alexis, because she eats it up. Just loves it.
I don't know why. I think it's so funny.
So come feel better about yourself. Tell Alexis a joke.
Yep. You can also there's joke books and whatever, or sometimes we'll even like watch reels together and look for the funny ones, or show our kids funny reels that we found. So there's lots of different ways to bring some laughter into your life.
Yep. I do think you get to choose, are you going to have a stressful household or not stressful household? And a lot of it's just like, I guess it's going to be stressful, right? There's just going to be stress. Even all these de-stressful things are stressful. But I think you can try and laugh it off, right? You can cry or you can laugh. And I like to laugh. So, good luck. Be less stressed.
Be less stressed.